everyone, Devin here, and we're going to be looking at open source gaming. You know, a lot of people will point out that open source software on the consumer side has never done well. But, I really beg to differ. I say that desktop is doing pretty well for itself. Is popular as Windows? No, but development's not stale. We have a lot of open source products. As a good example, like LibreOffice, it has done pretty well for itself. In comparison to gaming, though, you don't hear a lot of people bragging about, like the latest open source game. But, however, there are some really good ones out there that deserve some attention. Now, arguably, we don't have as much as proprietary, and a lot of that has to do with the amount of money it costs to build a game. I mean, really, when you think about it, you guys ever played, like, the latest Mario Kart 8? I mean, legitimately, that game uses the same characters with each release. Generally, 98% of the maps are the same. Really, they add new textures, audio, and occasionally like a new character here and there with a couple new tracks. And if you ever watch the credits, it takes 15 minutes of rolling credits to show off everyone who went into the development of the game. And so, not surprisingly, open source, we really don't have those resources. But we still have some really cool games to demo and show off. So I'm going to start off with probably one of the most well-known, and I could be wrong, no one maybe has heard of it before, is going to be SUPERTUX. Now some of you guys are like, really? This is where we're starting, guys. I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to be showing off 4 games in 4 different areas, period, okay? So this one's kind of like a fun for the whole family. This game has had a tremendous amount of development go into it, and additions and good stuff. And you guys come over here and check it out. One area where the website's super useful is if you got a Windows box. I think they support Windows. I mean, not like we care if they do or not. Yes, they do, it looks like. Yep, they do support Windows. It's good for that buddy of yours who doesn't want to use a real operating system. But the other thing is, somewhere in here you can find a link, and I can't do it on my tower because I don't have Bluetooth on my tower, but I've done it on my laptop using a Wiimote. And this game is really awesome if you get the Wiimote working. But let's actually go into the demo piece of it. Okay, and here it goes. It's loading up. So there's a couple cool things. For starters, they now support, or maybe have for a few releases, it's been a while since I played it, online accounts. I now can set up an account with them to track all my stuff and have friends lists. Okay. The other nice thing is they have both single player, story mode, all sorts of fun stuff, right? So I can come in here, now I'm in the story mode. And so let's assume, now mind you, I would much rather be playing with, must have clicked on something. I would much rather be playing right now with my Wiimote, but no Bluetooth. So if I'm kind of stumbling on this, please understand I'm using a keyboard. And I like keyboard mouse, just not for racing games. That is the one thing I will always, any day of the week, prefer a controller for. Okay. Some of the levels, the settings are beautiful, gorgeous. Other ones are kind of like this one, kind of plain. But a lot of your Mario Kart concepts are generally the same. There's things that you need to avoid, like bananas, right? Scary. And kind of copying. Oh, you hit boxes to gain weapons, and then you shoot things with the weapons, right? So there we go. Mind you, the theming for this show or for this game is not as good as one would hope. For the simple reason I say that is, I mean, like bowling balls. Some of the weapons are kind of like, really, we couldn't do better. I fell down. It happens. Like I said, this is one of those games, this is where I do prefer a controller. Unfortunately, I don't see this game supporting my Steam controller. And no Bluetooth. If you got Bluetooth, you can hook up a Wiimote. I've done it. It is totally fun. Now, one of the other areas where this game really succeeds is the add-ons. You can go at no cost and go get carts, tracks, and arenas for free. All right. So like one I downloaded, and I'll show that one here in a minute, which was done this year. Secret Garden by Canis Lupus. Carts. I can come in here and they're going to have some new ones. You'll also find some that are pretty old. But like, look, oh, how cute. Let's do Android. You just double click on it, you click install, it installs it, you're done, right? Then you go single player, okay, and then I can go to my add-ons, and that's where I can get my Android. I'm going to say that even if that's not the truth. I just want to do a normal race, and yet again, I could go standard where I get to pick out all these courses, and some of these courses look just absolutely beautiful. Unfortunately, I'd have to play it a lot more to unlock some of them. And then I can come here, and I can say I want, say, 2 laps, but 6 people racing, right? And then I can say start race. And this right here is going to be a race that was created by a community member, which I think is totally cool. And in terms of graphics, I think the graphics are pretty decent. I mean, maybe Wii-ish, not quite Wii U, but Wii-ish. However, I do not have my graphics turned all the way up. Now, if some of you right now are watching, and you, oops, see, I got hit with a basketball. If some of you are watching and you guys are judging my gameplay, please, I mean, you try play a game while doing a recording. And I know there's some people who do it. That's not my cup of tea. But anyway, I mean, overall, I say it's an excellent game. It's great for kids, good for friends, and you guys can have, do multiplayer, you can have up to 4 people playing at a time. So it's definitely worth it. If you don't have a console, you go buy Wiimotes online used for like dirt cheap. Go hook it up to a PC and sit up in your living room. And honestly, you turn the graphics down, this thing would run on integrated graphics with no issues. All right. So we quit. So that is, as it stands right now, that is one of the first games that I wanted to demo. And I think that overall, it's a good game. Now let's look to see if we can figure out, give me one moment here, my screen went black. You guys notice there's a slight cut in the feed. My screen over here went black, couldn't see what I was doing. We're back up and running. The next game we're going to show off here is going to be, and this one, I didn't even realize how popular it was. And maybe I'm pronouncing it wrong, but Nexus. It's a first-person shooter. I did not know that it was available for Xbox Live. Now, I did read that was for the 360. And it's not like I want to use the Xbox, but I think it's cool that they ported their game to a console. You know, it's very rare you see an open source game go through that. And then, of course, I don't think they're going to support the Xbox One because hello to Steam, right? Really cool. The graphics on this game, honestly, yet again, for an open source game, is super, super fun. Or super high end. And the game's really fun. So what we'll do is we'll come over here, we'll open up the game. Alright, now I don't, for recording purposes, I have the graphics turned down 1 step. They're on high, but they're not on the ultra settings. We could try to go for the online, I guess. But let's just do single player for demo purpose, and then we might hop over there really quickly. Alright, press spacebar to jump in. And, you know, I'm sure there's going to be someone who's going to be looking at this and they're going to go, you know, these graphics suck. But honestly, as I always say, for an open source game, a game that you're not actually really paying for, I mean, I'm not going to complain. I think the graphics are really good. One complaint I do have on the game itself is the AIs aren't very intelligent. The AIs kind of suck. I mean, I was playing this earlier to get the hang of it a little bit because I don't really play a lot of games. And the ones I do play, I will play quite a bit of. But like shooting games have never really been my cup of tea. I mean, I was just smoking the AI earlier. I mean, it was bad. It was just bad, right? Because, you know, you kill the AI, and then you go and you can get some health packs. But the thing that really gets me is the AI is not intelligent. So it's not like she's very hard to beat. The one thing I haven't figured out yet is how to unlock additional levels if you do the single-player gig. Because I keep coming back to this one, and it's not bad, but like level 3, I don't know how to get to level 3. So anyway, we can come back here, we go multiplayer, and let's just do a quick one, right? So I'm not really going to care about this. I mean, I might just go and, you know, give myself a simple name, player setup. Like I said, I could really care less, right? And so we're going to say apply, and then we're going to go look at the servers, and it looks like, there we go. They're coming in. So we got like one right here. So let's join that server. Let's see how it does. This is something else I find pretty flipping cool because, you know, really when you look at it, this game is just, the graphics are good. The online play, to have server functionality in an open source game, you have to pay for it. I mean, how many people do you know right now that have an Xbox and they're sitting there paying how much for their Xbox Live subscription each year? They have to buy the console, and, you know, let's face it, first generation Xboxes always suck. Same with PS4. I'm just saying, like, legitimately for a free game, it's not too shabby. I'm assuming because I have never played this game, it looks like there's going to be a little bit of load time behind that. So that kind of sucks. Let's see. All right. Well, as soon as I get back into the server, I will continue. I will continue the video. So it looks like I made it into the server. I will not lie to you, but I am not good at first-person shooters. This is more for a demoing thing for you guys. First-person shooters are not my game. Now, one thing I'll point out, this game is not new. Okay, so if there's this misconception that, with that being said, where I'm going with this is being that it's not new. Some of the maps probably are going to look dated, but then some of them, I'm imagining from the way the website put it, there's probably been some maps added to it. Okay. And I'll kind of go over that towards the end. But, you know, the online, it's a typical online shooter. The one thing I don't like about these online shooters, and I will put it out there, maybe it's just this map, I hate all of the jumping. The jumping is horrible. Why? Because if you're not a first-person shooting kind of guy like myself, legitimately, it's jumping screws with you. See? So that's the online. Like I said, it's pretty cool. Right now I only see 3 possible servers. Okay? You know, they're... It's not bad. I think it's a great game. I think there's a lot of fun stuff with the game. I haven't played it enough, but I mean, definitely from what I see online, it's one of Linux's better first-person shooters in terms of free and open source. I mean, of course, you know, if you go on Steam, that's going to be a little different. The next game we're going to look at, of course, is 0AD. Now, in terms of real-time strategy, there's 2 games I recommend for Linux that's open source. You have 0AD and you have Warzone 2100. Okay? If you just want a game where you build up huge militaries and go destroy your enemy, then 0AD is your guy. If you're wanting campaign mode, you're going to have to go with Warzone 2100. The graphics aren't as good. In my opinion, like, the models aren't as cool. But there's no campaign mode available in 0AD. Now, there was, and from my understanding, I got funded a while back, a Kickstarter to get the campaign mode built. Still waiting. And, I mean, I've been playing 0AD, I think, since, like, 2011, 2012, and we still don't have a campaign mode. But everything else is getting better with time. So let me open up the 0AD. Okay, we can go single player. Like you see, campaign mode is off. You can come in here and it says civilizations. That's cool. So you can come in and you have a huge list of civilizations you can go with. Probably what, like 10, 15? So I'm going to say, okay, I'm going to be the Spartans, and I'm going to play against, well, of course, the Persians. I will be team 1. They will be team 2. We're going to do skirmish. Okay, now you can do and I don't know if it works. Okay, so you could do a scenario map, but I much prefer skirmish. Let's just do, I guess, whatever. And then here's like your different maps. So you can sit down and you can say, Okay, I want, that looks fun, Death Canyon, start game. Now, Zero AD is more my style of game. I like real-time strategies. And unfortunately, I feel like real-time strategies have really gone the way of, like, the dodo, right? You just don't see as many of them. I mean, there used to be a plethora of them back in the day. So your first goal is, it's almost like if you almost ever played Stronghold. You're worried about building a military to fight off your enemies, but also manage resources. Okay? So I'm going to sit down and I'm going to tell these group of people to get wood. I'm then going to tell these group of people to build a farm, which is hilarious because it's the desert, right? And then these people are going to be my defenders. Well, actually, I need one guy to build a house. Okay, it's like any other type of RTS game. You have to have X amount of structures to be able to grow your population. You also have to manage the food quantity, and you have to, of course, fight off the enemies. One thing I will tell you about this game is it plays fast and dirty. If you do not get an army built, like as much time as I'm spending teaching, yeah, I'm already done. I'm already going to lose this game, guaranteed. The way you build more units is, well, one, up here shows you how many you can build, 9 out of 20, right? I have 300 metal, 300 stone, 140 wood, 300 meat. Now, stone and metal is pretty crucial, but you could survive just by making sure that these two are filled. I've done it plenty of times, right? To create more units, you click on your main hall, and you come in here, and you can either create yourself a woman, you create yourself a spearman, a archer, and a cavalry. Now, yes, depending on the civilization that you pick will depend on what style of characters, but generally you get about 4 of them, okay? At least to start off. Now, typically women are the cheapest. So normally, and see, I'm saying I want 3 of them. I typically build them to worry about my plantations and worry about my trees and all these different things. Okay, and then one thing you got to keep ahead of, because it will sneak up on you quick, is keeping your houses built. I also recommend you keep your houses built pretty close together. Okay, and then for fun, so here we go. We got 3 of these. We're going to keep getting wood because wood is something that will continue to run out, right? We'll just build like 2 of those, and being that we're going to lose, but we'll go look for the enemy, which, because we're at the top rightish of the map, we're probably going to have to go to the far leftish of the map, just depending. Like I said, in this game, yeah, this is not a game you take your time with and slowly look at your economy and work on it. And you build lots of cool stuff. I mean, when you get down on your person, you have a ton of stuff that you can build. And then, as you may have noticed, you also enter different ages of civilization, and it costs material to make those happen. But anyway, let's go look so you can just kind of see the enemies. One thing I will tell you, non issue with this game, it's not a lag. I don't really know how to describe it per se, but when you get a lot of people, like say you have huge armies moving in, one of the known problems with this game is that one of the known issues is the characters kind of move funny, almost like it is lagging, but the game's not lagging. It's really weird. It's been a known issue. Zero AD post about it all the time, and it will eventually get fixed. So there we go. See, first enemy there. You click on him. He obviously is not caring a whole lot that we're attacking him. The other thing I will also tell you that I have noticed about Zero AD is, depending on which version of which Linux operating system will depend on what version of Zero AD you end up getting. Some versions of Zero AD are a lot harder than other versions of Zero AD. Okay, I mean, I've played some versions of Zero AD where it's like easy. There's other versions I've played where, oh my god, I barely got my first person created and an army is like marching into my gates. So here we go, we're marching into enemy territory. It's probably not very impressive yet, because at the end of the day, you know, they just got started, I just got started. But look how many more people they have than I do. I mean, look, their armies are literally coming in to kill. So it really, for an RTS, it doesn't get too much better than 0 AD. I'm just still like really, really, really waiting for a campaign mode, because once they do a campaign mode, this will probably be one of the best games on Linux, whether you like RTS or not, just because of the graphics are really, really good, and the gameplay is good, and the AI on this is just brilliant. So, last game. I'm going to make an argument about this game. Whether you like this style of game or not, it is one of the best games on Linux in terms of being an open source free game, okay? I'm not talking about your Half-Life. That's a proprietary game. Linux has always been a second-class citizen, or not Linux, but, well, yeah, Linux as well, but open source games have always been a second-class citizen compared to the proprietary games. The proprietary games always have something on us. Like, I could make 20 arguments today on why Linux is a better operating system than Windows. I can't do that with a lot of video games. There's a lot of video games I cannot sit down and say, well, this is a clone of this and it is better. But this one, I think I could. Now, some people at first were like, oh, hell no. No, I'm here to work with me a bit, okay? You guys ready for it? Mind test. Now, I know some people are like, oh, no, dude, Minecraft's way better. Let me tell you something about Minecraft, okay? That damn thing, every time it updates, breaks, okay? Whether that's a embedded Java issue, because even though, like, even on the Windows version, even though there's no Java when you install it, there's still a form of Java. I mean, I've seen on Windows machines the Java errors it gets every time a freaking update comes through. Installing mods is a pain in Minecraft. And then just like overall, the game sold to Microsoft, you know it's doomed, right? So, welcome to Mindtest. Mindtest has some really strong points to it. For starters, it's open source. That is like the foremost biggest reason, okay? 4.13 is in every Linux distribution's repository that is the latest release today, even Ubuntu, okay? And even then, they have PPAs, so once you get past, once the new release comes out, it's not hard to upgrade. And for the Arch users or the rolling release users, it's not hard. I mean, it'll just come in your natural updates. Now, one of the cool things, so I think it's under Customize, I can go to Mods. And this is the thing. This community has a plethora of mods, okay? So all I would do, okay, so let's say, okay, I want to add some mods, all right? And let's assume, let's see, what would be like a good one to add, okay? Let's do the better HUD and hunger. So I come in here. Now, I'm not going to lie. Mindtest, just like Linux in itself, requires you to do a little bit more reading. Minecraft is more of a point and click and go kind of deal. And all you really want to look for is you want to come down here. Depends, none, but supports 3D armor. That's cool. All right, and so requires Mindtest 4.3. No big deal. So we'll download it. Well, it helps if I can spell, right? So let's go into Dolphin. Let's go to Downloads. And so here it is, right? So let's go Extract. Extract archive here. Let's copy it. Now let's go back home. Now, pardon me while I figure show hidden files. Okay, so now we want to look for is the .mindtest folder, okay? Now, if it is not present, what you want to do is you want to right-click, create new folder, and call that folder mods. Okay? Now, if you are on an Ubuntu edition, now, if you're on Ubuntu 16.04, you might be a little screwed because of the new the new software center they're using. KDE still does the thing where by default, and I'll show you guys here. Okay, I go here and I go, whoops, not typing. Oh no, there it goes. Mindtest, right? Now wait for it to open. Well, it's being slow, is it not? All right, let's go to games, and it usually is like one of the top games. Let's actually go full. Here it is. test. So it's installed. But look, I could check these in, and by default in Ubuntu, well, the Ubuntu flavor is not so much Ubuntu anymore. You could get the more blocks, more ores, Pipeworks, and then now we're installing better HUD. Okay, so now let's actually go, and like I said, I mean they have, and these are just the ones that they're promoting that'll work. If you actually go into the form, okay, let's see if I go community form, and I go mods, and you can install mods, and look, go through and just play with anyone that you want. Now, keep in mind, like I said, read, because they may depend on other mods. Remember, it's just like any type of Linux development, they're building on top of each other, okay? But we're just gonna, this is just a pure demo at this point. All right, so I'm gonna open up Test, and I'm gonna bring it over, okay? And so we have our new world here. You go to configure, and this is where your mods are. Okay, so these are all the mods that came with default. And then I also want to enable those as well. Save. Now, if the mod, for whatever, there's something not right where the mod didn't get a dependency met, guess what? You can just, it'll error out and it'll tell you which one, and you can either just disable that mod or go back and look and say, why did this not work? Okay. Some of the other cool things where I show the game. Okay, so you have single player. Okay, you have client, which I believe these are for who are attaching to the server. I can click on here and it'll load and bring up a complete server list. Okay, yeah, tell me how easy that is for you on Minecraft. You can also be the server. You can set up a server. Now, very important, if you do not want people to show up from outside, like you just want to be an in-home server, do not check mark public. If you check mark public, you hit that list and anyone can come in. Okay, settings. This is where you can come in and apply all your different graphics. Texture packs. You can apply higher level texture packs if you have the graphics to support it. Mods, there's my mods. And then credits, all the people who work on it. As you can see, there's a good lot that do work on this game. Okay, so now what we'll do is we'll hit play. And now I've got the Hunger HUD on there. All right, now we're coming in. And as you can see, it looks a lot like Minecraft. It looks a lot like Minecraft. All right. I mean, I tell you, I have gone into this game. I have had 20, 25 mods running. And the game is just absolutely running flawless. Now, because it's not a Java game, guess what? I don't have a lot of problems with this. I don't have issues with my... I don't have a PPA yet because I'm on Ubuntu 16.04. But when the next version does come out and I go, okay, time to PPA it, I don't have half the issues that I do when on this version as I do under Minecraft. The other thing I'll also point out is graphically it looks about the same, right? Yeah, this actually will run better on lower end hardware. The first time I started playing Test, I was running Ubuntu, I think it was 12.04. And I was on a Sony Vaio with an Intel Core i3, 4 gigs of RAM, and an Intel HD 3000 graphics. This is, and did it run phenomenal? No, I set at about 35 frames a second. But Minecraft wouldn't even run on that. Not under Linux anyway, with Java. It would not. Some of the differences between Minecraft, Test, in Minecraft you'd hit E for inventory. Test follows the actual tried and true I for inventory, right? Like a lot of games do. The other thing is you don't need a crafting table to do your crafting. You just put it in your crafting area, and there we go, right? And then and some of the recipes are a hair different, but believe it or not, a lot of the recipes are generally the same. One of the, like I said, the big differences I will normally point out between it is you actually don't have to do as much work to get started. It's actually easier to learn. I remember I put my son on Test for the first time, and oh, that's right. And this bar is your items bar. So we'll put. I put my son on Test, and I remember he was sitting there and he was like, "Wow, this is really easy." And then I put him on Minecraft, and it actually took him a while because he was sitting there going, "I don't understand. Why can't I build stuff?" He eventually picked it up, but Test, in a sense, is easier. In terms of creatures, there are none. But you resolve that by adding a mod. Okay, so we can come back here to the where is it? All right, so let's come back to the mods. We can do simple mobs, okay? And yet again, all you do is you download them, okay? And the concept's the same. Now, I will tell you that sometimes you cannot you cannot how do I put it? You can't just apply mods in the middle of a game. So what I mean by that is, example being, and some of them will also tell you to rename them. A lot of times best practice for mind test is to start a fresh map with the mod, not sit there and already have a map where you already have a lot of time invested into it and do the mods. It will work sometimes, but I have seen times where it will jack with things a little bit. And that's why, like, a lot of times, because even now, to play it safe, I'm going to close that out and then we'll reopen it. That's why, like, before you create a world, really take some time to go through the mods list and see what's new. Okay? Now, I don't know if this will provide the animals, because there is another mod pack, but I will tell you this. At nighttime, there are zombies, which are vampire zombies. There's these giant balls that are equivalent to creepers that explode. And I'm trying to think, there's one other one. And I mean, there's tons of mods for that stuff. I installed one where I'm like walking around, and nighttime hits, and I'm like, I got my sword. I ain't worried about anything running around. And next thing I know, I've got these like demony ghost looking things coming out of the sky. Actually, funny stories. The first time I played Mind Test, see, sheep. So there we go. There are creatures, and you kind of need them to eat them. There was a bug, or maybe I clicked on something. I can't remember. All I do know is there was this giant unkillable monster that was in the game chasing me around, and God, that was long ago, like 2011, I think, is when that was. There's tons of mods. It's easy to install mods on here. You don't need a third-party tool to install mods. And I know if some of you are looking going, your frame rate's like 30 frames a second. That's because I'm also recording the video. Without the video recording, I sit at 60 frames, no problem. But anyway, so Mind Test, I think, is an excellent testament to open source games. And one of the reasons behind that is, think about it, it's really simple. The guy creates a Minecraft clone. And then the community could do a lot of the other work. The only thing I'll tell you is you do have to do a bit of work up front to be able to get a lot of the mods installed that would have been default product in Minecraft. So there is some painful stuff there. So I mean, that's really it. I just wanted to demo what I really thought was 4 of the best games. The only one I didn't have a lot of experience with was Nexius, or however you want to say it. And that's not a bad thing. It's just I don't have a lot of time for first-person shooters. They're not my bag. But, I mean, it is fun. I do walk around and shoot things, and that wasn't too bad. But Zero AD is definitely one of my favorites because I like campaign, and I'd love to have a campaign mode. But I also really enjoy building up huge armies and marching them into my enemy's base and crushing them. And then, you know, SUPERTUXKART, I remember our Wii went belly up. Wii U, we hadn't went out and bought one yet. And I hooked up my PC and used a Wii mode on there. Me and my son played that for a few hours, and that was great. And like I said, Mind Test, I love it and prefer it over Minecraft, not because it's open source, because I think there's a better community behind it, and I think it's a better product. And I think as more people go into that community, the game will get better. And that's one of those games, legitimately, as the community grows, the game grows. And that is what I think is completely cool about it. You know, if you guys have any comments, of course, I love to hear them. If you have negative comments, I don't care. Every once in a while, someone likes to post something nasty and negative, and half the time you're uneducated and like new to Linux, like 4 days new to Linux and open source. I've been using it for 8 years, which is still no comparison to some people who've been doing it for 10 or 15. But I will also at some point be covering that as well, as the negativity piece in Linux is getting kind of a little out of control. These are, in my opinion, the 4 best games. And these are 4 games I enjoyed. And I hope one of you will look at this and say, I'm going to give it a try. So thank you for watching, and until next time, you have a good one.